Hello and welcome to Restore 2023. We are in the book of Job, chapters 31 and 32. Chapter 31 brings the conclusion of the long-standing cycles of interactions in dialogue between Job and his three friends. We've seen that in chapters 3 to 27. Then in chapters 28, we've had that break. And then chapters 29 to 31, this final extension of confessions of his innocence. And despite all the adversity and all the accusations by his friends, Job is still convinced that he is innocent. He will not follow the advice of his friends. He will stick to his innocence. And what we've got in chapter 31, we've got this series of self-examinations to prove that his actions and his attitudes are right before God. Job continues to think within the framework of the retribution theology, but he has noted, though, that it does not always apply in life. So he claims to be innocent and he demands justice from God. At the end of chapter 31, the stage is set for almost Yahweh to give the verdict. But before Yahweh does, we've got this young man, Elihu, the Marmite, I call him, which we have to see through chapters 32 and 37. Job's denial that he has mistreated the poor and the oppressed reflects actually the biblical theme of God's commandments to his people to care for the needy and the poor. This is in the Old Testament, this is in the New Testament. So the themes of compassion, of justice for the needy, of welcoming the marginalized, of embracing the orphan and looking after the widow, the weak. These are all great themes that we see even Job has embraced. And those who fail to show compassion and seek justice for the needy, actually, they are trying to, they're expressing that they ignore God's character by the way that they act in these actions. So after Job concludes his words in verse 40 of chapter 1, the reader expects to hear again Yahweh to speak and to resolve this debate between Job and his friends. And Elihu bursts upon the scene. He comes, and the next 6 chapters he holds the stage. In the structure of the book, Elihu's speech extends the dramatic tension as the reader keeps waiting for Yahweh to bring resolution to Job's case. Elihu agrees with them with the friends, that God sends suffering and his judgment on sin, but he also adds that God can also use suffering to refine human character. So for Elihu, suffering is part of the discipline. Elihu supposes that he has the final word in this discussion, but Yahweh will retain that prerogative in chapters 38 to 41. I call him Elihu the Marmite, not the Buzite, as the commentators have evaluated him positively, as he is spoken for Yahweh, but others have dismissed him as intrusive, as empty. In order to assess accurately his role in the book, several textual features must be considered. Elihu is not mentioned either before or after he speaks. And in contrast to other friends, Elihu has got a genealogy. Well, he seems to be related to Abraham. Elihu is young, he's angry, he's self-confident, but we know from the prologue that he does not know what's happened in the heavenly realm. When Yahweh speaks, he does not criticize Elihu, as it does with Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, but he does not commend Elihu either, as it does with Job. Elihu aspires to the role of the judge. He is the one who wants to decide on the case, but actually his angry tone and his speech suggests that the author wants the reader to see him as well-intentioned but ironic figure who sets the stage for Yahweh, the real judge.